a little hard to follow all that elegant music and beautiful slideshow. I'll try to speak loudly enough. It's hard to follow that elegant music and the beautiful slideshow that Dave put together. Over the past year, with some regularity, I had the opportunity to spend afternoons with Bert. I'm here because of the fond memories I hold from those times in her company. I suspect the same is true for each one of you. The events we shared were mostly mundane and ordinary. It was the giving and receiving of friendship. We'd play cooperative Scrabble, walk home from the salon and enjoy the beautiful weather that we had so much in the last year, watch concerts on television, do a bit of yoga, chat about our adult children. Sometimes I'd knit and she would admire my simple projects far beyond their intricacy and beauty. Throughout the time, on days when she felt good, and on days when she seemed unsure of who she was or what was happening to her, a constant was her caring for those around her. She never failed to inquire of my activities, to show interest in whatever I was doing. Oh, and of course, she was sure to ask whether on any given day I needed a cookie, a chocolate, a coffee, or some soda. Bert helped me to remember how to live in the now. Truly, that is all we have. When I think of her, it is with compassion for the challenges she faced when I knew her, fondness for the friendship she shared with me, and the grace with which she did it, gratitude for her example of kindness, and relief that she must now surely have peace.
Hello? Hello? Yeah. Ah, you gotta have it inside of your mouth. All right.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Close to the mouth. All right. My name is Eleanor Fell, and I have known Bert for such a long time. I have a few notes here. Joe asked me to speak, and I was very honored to do so for many, many reasons. But we called her Bert, but she and I shared an awful lot, and I would just like to share with you the sharing that I had with Bert. She shared a beautiful name of Roberta, which is my sister's name. So I always had a fond spot in my heart for Roberta residents. Bert and I shared the same birth town. We were both born in Chicago, which we spoke about once in a while, although I left when I was 1 month old. Don't think that up too much. We share the fact that she attended Interlochen Arts Academy, and I taught there, not at the same time, but we talked about that. We shared experiences. We shared the fact that she was a musician, and I was too, and we shared a passion for music. I had more strings on my instrument than she did. I had 43 and she only had 4. We also shared the fact that her mother, Frida Weingart, and my mother, Rose Fell, were very, very good and dear friends. They were both an integral part in the fabric of the Jewish Community Center and community here in Bloomington. After our mothers passed away, Bert would call me up out of the blue and ask me if there was anything she could do. Is there anything she could help out? Because she knew that I was so fond of my mother, and she was too. And this was so typical of her to keep in touch with people. Can I help? You need a cookie? Do you need a soda? She and I shared information on this and that, who was doing what and where they were doing it. And she knew that if I needed any information, I could get it from her, and if she needed any information, she could get it from me. And I could count on her, and she would share with me. Bert was very, very kind. She was a very thoughtful human being. She was caring, and she was a sharing friend. Of course, her pride and joy was her family. Her two boys, David and Daniel, and her granddaughter, Katie, and her daughter-in-law, Debbie. And of course, her husband, Joe, who was always by her side all these years. Bert loved sharing their achievements with everybody, and I loved hearing it. I have a little poem here that I would like to read, and when I read this poem, it reminded me of Bert and Frida and all of those who have passed on. So let me share this with you, as Bert shared so many wonderful things with me. Those we love remain with us, for love itself lives on. Cherished memories never fade just because one is gone. Those we love are never more than just a thought apart. For as long as there is memory, they will always live in our hearts. It's only just a little while that you and I must part. So bless the many memories that you have within your heart. I won't be very far away. I'm actually really quite near. Just call me ever so softly, and I will hear. Thank you.
Hello. I'm not the best public speaker, but trying my best here. We received a lot of emails and really nice words and notes and things from people. And Dad asked if I'll go ahead and read a few of these to you. Can I get a glass of water? Here, some water. That's better. This was written by Judy Franz, who's our next door neighbor for not long number of years. She sent this to us in an email. For 18 years, the residents in our family were our next door neighbors in Arden Place. This was very lucky for us because we wouldn't have had better neighbors. It was like having family next door, and since our real family was far away, this was wonderful for all of us, and particularly our son, who spent many hours in Resid's home. Bert was caring, and we all loved her. As an example of her gorgeous nature, generous nature, as I saved my overripe bananas for her, they were returned back as home-baked banana bread. That was very hard to beat the trade-off. We have had many neighbors, as we have lived in many places since we left Bloomington, and we have never had one that compares to Bert. She constantly gave of herself and enriched our lives. The next one was also from one of our neighbors who lived just catty corner to our house. The older I get, the more I treasure my friends, and Bert was my dear friend. Her death leaves a hole in my heart that won't be filled by anyone else. It is with a smile that I'll remember Bert's love of animals. When hungry deer kept jumping over the fence and wrecking her backyard with the footprints, she decided just to open the gate and let them walk in. She kept her bird feeders full, and when I was over, we'd always go back to see her birds. They gave her a lot of joy. Bert was talented in many ways. She was a musician, dancer, teacher, accomplished hostess, and although she was afraid to drive on the highway, was a fearless traveler. For a number of years, she worked at IU, where she was respected, trusted, and relied on. One summer, while working at the School of Continuing Studies, everyone had gone home for the holidays, but Bert spent a number of weeks managing the whole shebang.